We are now on record mode, and our fellow Volks Marchers will get to see what it is we're talking about this evening when we go through our special programs. This very first webinar for America's Walking Club is hosted by the Special Programs Committee, and it's my privilege to introduce several of the members of that committee, who all also include folks who sponsor our special programs here in the AVA. We'll pull up a few slides. Using these slides, we'll go through our current special programs, let some of our POCs for those special programs kind of report on what's going on in the current special programs, how they're doing, and then we'll look at National Walking Week, which will be the very first of 2021's special programs. It's unique from all the other special programs we've had. It's based on a declaration of the Board of Directors of the America's Walking Club this past January. We really didn't get a chance to implement it in 2020 because of current events, which are still ongoing, and hopefully you all are staying safe. But we'll talk a little bit about the plans for 2021 and what the whole purpose of this idea of National Walking Week is all about, and how it is slightly different than every other special program. Then we'll introduce two brand new special programs for 2021. You all can begin your planning for your trails and see how you might want to incorporate these multi-year programs into your walking experience and your walking programs as well. As I said, that we're on brand new ground. We've never done this before. So we're going to go ahead and launch a poll. So you all should see a poll on there. And this is one of the capabilities of being on this Zoom platform. Let's take a little poll. By the way, this is all these polls are anonymous, so you can speak your truth and not feel like someone's going to judge you. Right now there are 63 and only 51. I'm watching how many folks are actually.
May I make a comment?
Please, of course, make a comment.
Okay, if I was going to answer this for when I travel, the answers would be significantly different from when I'm choosing walks near my house.
Understand. Why don't you choose based on the amount of walking that you do and what percentage of walking is influenced by this? How about that? So if you walk 100 walks a year, what percentage of them are based on special programs? Assuming you're a Centurion person, and I didn't mean to make that assumption, but that'll help you make a decision. How about that? Okay.
Well, Tim, do you want me to start?
Do I want you to start? Well, we have some slides, so we're going to go in order.
Okay.
All right. Thank you for joining us. We're doing a poll right now. We're just asking ourselves the important question: how important are special programs to AVA walking? We get the opportunity to do that. All right. So 61 of 64 folks have answered it. Nobody. It's been 2 minutes, so I'm assuming those that want to answer can. We'll end the polling. This is what the results look like. So 32 out of 64, basically half say sometimes. 15 never. About 50% of the time 7, most of the time 6, and always 1. So this kind of gives us an idea of how special programs play, what role they play within America's Walking Club and how we're walking right now. So I'm going to stop sharing the results. I'm going to cancel this. We have a few other questions. As I said, we are literally on new ground here trying to figure out how to best use this medium. But the idea that was discussed at the board of directors meeting just recently was that, well, this sounds like a really good idea that we all gather together as America's Walking Club, and let's talk about what we're doing and encourage each other. Let's look at our programs and let's use this as an educational medium, because there are some things changing in the way we do business from the traditional Volksmarching that many of us knew for decades and decades. And there's some new programs. This is the first of a monthly series. I expect that every month there'll be some new topic. So we are literally demonstrating to national headquarters the capability here. We have 65 out of 130 who signed up to be here. We are on recorded mode. So again, we will get a chance to be seen out there, even if folks don't show up here. I'm controlling who comes in. It's a security feature of Zoom to make sure that only those who registered, and that's why we use the registration function. Hopefully that was a convenient thing for you to register, get an email. You have a private link. So ultimately, if I wanted to, I could make the polls very specific and I could know exactly what your individual vote is. So if we were to have voting sort of things, that's the capability of this Zoom platform. And you might want to use it for your clubs as well. Our goal tonight is to actually look at special programs, talk about them. Some of you, if you swipe the bottom, swipe your cursor across the screen, you'll see across the bottom a menu. If you haven't used Zoom before, in the middle of that menu is the chat feature. Go ahead and click that on and keep it on so that you actually get the chance to actually do sidebar conversations. If you want to make a comment, if you want to ask a question, if you want to record something, there's an opportunity for you to actually discuss things amongst yourselves while we're talking about specific programs. So use that feature to ask questions, and I'll try to keep up with what questions are going there. But there are few enough of us that if you have a specific question, unmute yourself and just pipe up and say you have a question. And for now, we'll use that feature. If there are too many questions, we'll go back to questions only out of the chat room. But for now, let's talk amongst ourselves and let's make this a really meaningful thing. I'm in Virginia. We see our Southeast Region Director. We see our Deputy Southwest Region Director. We know that there's somebody up there in the Olympic Peninsula of Washington. So we're literally across the country, upstate New York. We've already introduced her. So we literally are across the country, and we are America's Walking Club coming together. And this is kind of a neat way to do that. And I hope everybody is staying safe. If you don't mind, I'm going to go ahead and use one of the features of this, which is to share screen. And I'm going to go ahead and hopefully everybody sees that I've just co-opted the entire screen here. But again, if you have any questions, unmute your mic and just pipe in there. And this is our goal, of course, the pretty logo that now exists. And I'm waiting for the first embroidered walking wear that I can get with this really colorful logo on it. Let's see what we'll talk about this evening. We'll just very briefly just discuss what is a special program, talk about the status of current special programs. We'll talk about National Walking Week coming up in 2021, which is the very first and a very unique, what we will call special program. And we'll look at the two new special programs that are going to begin in January 2021. What is a special program? I'm going to open my question. What is a special program to you? Go ahead. If you have something you want to say to define what a special program is. Susan, you were the first one to pipe up. What is a special program to you, ma'am?
It adds interest. I mean, I can do a Volksmarch any day, but when I have to seek out one like Underground Railroad or Ice Cream Parlor or something like that, I get excited about it. I travel to do them, and it just makes the whole thing a lot more fun for me.
That's good. Who else has a special comment? We saw that not everybody walks for specifically for special programs, but what other comments do we have out there?
Well, I'll speak up. I love special programs. A lot like Susan said, it gives a little interest to the walk and makes you seek out different walks or walks you wouldn't pick otherwise, maybe. I've had a great time with them. And, you know, now I'm one of the co-sponsors of the Little Free Library program. And it's just always fun to find a qualifier when you're walking.
That's great. Kathy, you raised your hand. That's a pretty neat feature of Zoom. And what would you like to say, Kathy? Oh. All right, I guess somebody discovered the hand raising function but decided not to speak. Well,
I would like
special
to
programs
comment.
are those pretty unique things. Regina, did you have something you'd like to say?
Sure. I think with the special programs, it also encourages the clubs to make their walks more interesting, to include the special programs. So it kind of challenges them to find out what's in their area that they can include to make their walks interesting for people.
That's very good. And I want to hold on to that point because when we get to the 2021 programs, you're going to see there's a little bit of a direction shift. We're going to make the clubs do a little more work than they have before, and we'll see how that works. So I think that there's some great opportunities, and we can make these special programs not only interesting for us as walkers, but you're going to see that the Special Programs Committee are going to make the walks good for the AVA and for America's Walking Club. And if I use AVA, I hope you'll understand I really do mean America's Walking Club, this new rebranding sort of thing, but it's a whole lot easier for me to say AVA. Very briefly, is there anybody from the Olympian program? Susie, are you on? Kathy, you raised your hand again. Would you like to say something, ma'am? Can you unmute yourself down in the lower left or of this? I guess not. Okay, very briefly, let's just run through the programs that are currently existing. Ending this year is Walk Like an Olympian. Of course, it still gives you another year. The board of directors actually asked the question whether or not we would try to extend any of these special programs because of the delays or restrictions to walking. Most of these programs are at a minimum of 3 years with a year extension. So the idea was we'd probably not do that. That we would, but if there is somebody that really has a real concern about it, and you really feel like you'd like to complete that special program and you were really restricted this year and next year isn't going to do it, like if you're going to, this Olympian program, if you were really counting to knock out those 15 or 20 walks for the gold of the Olympian program and you just didn't get that chance, let me know. I'm sure we can work with the club, the South Bay Striders. Again, one of the reasons for doing this is to call out our volunteers, and this is what makes our special programs all special. And the South Bay Striders and Susie out there doing the Olympian program. I don't know how many of you are doing that right now. I don't have any statistics on it. Just started in the last TAW will be the publication of the recipients, those who graduate for a program and actually get it done. And we'd certainly like to call out all the special program achievers. Thank you. All right, let's see what else we have. Ooh, Little Free Libraries. Here's one. We have the folks from the Little Free Library program. And lots of thumbs up here at our household. And so I'll turn the microphone over to our librarians. Microphone is yours, please.
All right. Hi, I'm Susan. And I'm Deb. And we're the Little Free Library team. This has been a very, very successful program. We have sold 236 books so far. 77 have been redeemed to date. Redemptions have really slowed down since March. If anyone has a question, let us know and we'll answer that. Deb, do you have anything to just say?
Not really.
Well, we want to say thank you to all the work that you do to really make this program special. I know for my wife and I, we are, we're on our second round. And I hope other people are as well. We have two folks who've raised their hands. Let's see. Mike Green, you've raised your hand.
Okay, this is actually Betty, but Mike's here. We came across something interesting on a walk recently. We found a Little Free Library. It had the metal plaque on it, but it said original Little Free Library, and it did not have a charter number. It was one of the first Little Free Libraries, apparently. So I was wondering what people would do. I've already finished the program, so it doesn't matter to me, but how would they just write or send a picture of it?
Well, if you just left a little note, I'm pretty liberal about that kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah, and
I just wanted, like I said, I've already
I don't know if it
finished
was
it.
you that emailed me about that, and I kind of left it up to your discretion.
Okay, yeah, it might have been Bill Ridge that did that because he was with us.
I didn't know that in the beginning they did a number on them.
Yeah, that was me, if you can hear me.
Yeah, hi, Bill.
Hi.
Okay.
So,
Bill, did you have a question?
no, I was just commenting. I was the person that contacted, I think, Deb about that little glitch with the walking the box in a certain town that I have, and we talked about it. And I think it's my opinion. Maybe we should, because it doesn't have a registration number, we should not allow that to be used. So.
Well, that's what I kind of said,
Yeah.
that we'd prefer that they have a number on them.
Right.
Because there's a lot of Little Free Libraries around that are not actually registered. I have to think that that one probably is because it has the plaque.
Yeah, it does
So-
actually even use that terminology on the placard, but it doesn't have a registration number, so I don't know.
We also understand there's been a rift in the Little Free Library program, and there might be two groups of Little Free Libraries out there.
Yeah, the founder of Little Free Libraries, Todd Bowl, has passed away a few years ago. And now apparently some people in the program and some family members are having a little, in fact, I think it's gone, into the legal system about their terminology for Little Free Libraries.
No,
We don't,
If you feel really strongly about one, we're probably going to be okay with it. But
Yeah.
we asked you to get the registration numbers. And there's a lot of them out there. I mean, there's a lot of Little Free Libraries out there with numbers. So it's not a burden.
yeah, this town has one. I'm not sure if you can hear me now, but this town has one, but it's kind of out in the periphery of the town. So the one downtown is the one we're talking about, and doesn't seem to appear to be a viable candidate for that.
well, we're not real sticky about it. So
Okay.
we had a walk that they were planning on registering it at some point, and we allowed that one. So
Well, again, thank you so very much for all that you're doing with the Little Free Libraries. We have a number of programs to cover. And if there are any other questions, the contact information and the descriptions of each and every one of these programs is actually at the AVA website. It tells you where to contact, as examples, our two librarians here to get the special logbook where you put in the IVV stamp associated for these, and it tells you specifically which walks qualify, which stamps qualify. In this case, little free AVA walks with little free libraries with charter numbers in it. So the questions are coming up in the chat room, a little more basic about where to get the information that's at the AVA website itself. Again, thank you so much for our librarians for doing this program. It really is a fun program, and I have to keep my hands out of these little free libraries and keep, so I don't want to carry a book around, but boy, there's some interesting books in some of them. And our favorite one was actually an adult little free library over top of a child's little free library underneath it. And we thought that that was really cute. We didn't claim to, of course, because it's probably the same number, but that's okay. That was one of our little free best ones. So thank you so very much for doing this program. And again, a big round of applause for all of us for all your hard work. Thank you. Yes. So anyway, let me go on to the next program here. All right, carousels across America also ends at the end of December of 2021. Redeem your books. Anybody from the carousel program here? I didn't think they were going to be here with us. Those are the Albany Fit Walkers, and Don Reed is the POC for that. 15 books and unlimited entries. You could do the same stamp over and over and again 15 times. Rocking Around the Clock, January 2020 to December 2022. Let's see, Maumee Valley Volksporters, anybody here from that group? No. So again, another popular one with clocks. You got to find a public clock though outside in order to qualify. All of these have patches, and we'll talk about patches here going forward. Mayflower. Let's see, Twin State Volksport Association. Carolyn, are you with us? This is an interesting program associated with this year's historic 400th anniversary of the Mayflower. There were some concerns about the association of the indigenous population, of Native American population all across the country with this particular program. But it basically honors the 400th anniversary of the landing of the Plymouth colonists up in Massachusetts, and it's a New England-y themed sort of thing. Airports. I know Daniel tried to contact me, and I tried to contact him back. Daniel, did you make it with us today? All right, I guess not. Airports. One of the tougher ones to get because you kind of have to walk near, and the qualifier is to see the operations of an airport, and that's not always easy. But again, 12 different AVA sanctioned events. The same walk in a different year equals a different walk. So you can use the same airport in successive years, this being a 3-year program like so many others are. We'll talk about that, how qualifiers have been done. There's a bit of a mismatch about and you really have to pay attention. Each program kind of has different rules, and we're going to try to lasso in those rules so that all the programs kind of are the same. We'll see that going forward. What else we got here? Border crossings. Nice long program. Expires in 2023. 15 sanctioned events. Michigan Pathfinders. Okay. And they ask you to submit a photo of to prove your border crossing. That's kind of fun to actually do more than just put a stamp in a book.
Hmm.
The idea of creating a mini album and a travel album of what you're doing. Each one of these special programs has some special meanings. I know I look at some of my event books from long ago, and they're just lots of colors. I've lost all the memories for many of these walks, and this kind of a logbook is really kind of a special way of being a travel log. Susan, your call, ma'am.
Okay, this is a really fun one, and my husband and I just finished it recently. We got a big leg up on it with the convention being in the Northeast. Thanks to everybody in the Northeast for doing that, because we bagged all those little Appalachian Trail segments during that convention. But I did the same thing with a logbook, and I don't know if you can see that, but there's a space for each page for each state where you can put in your own photograph.
Hmm.
And you know, we wrote comments about things we like Darren falling off a log into the water, and you know, stuff like that. Or this was Maine, and we were wearing our bug hats because the bugs were so bad. So that's a fun program, and let's see what I can tell you. Hang on a second, let me get my page. We have sold, let's see, I've sold 265 books. 15 folks have finished so far. And the AVA has made a profit of $2,467 at this point. So I consider this a success.
Well, thank you so much, Susan, for kind of creating this. And this program is not really a club program, if I'm correct. Everything goes direct to the AVA headquarters for it. You've pretty much donated the whole thing to the AVA headquarters. So thank you for doing that. And it's created quite a profit for the AVA. And thank you so very much for doing that. Any questions for Susan on the Appalachian Trail program? All righty. Thanks so much, Susan, for all you do for us. Very great program. So you and I are looking forward to doing it when the bugs go away. Actually, that's our big goal.
I just wanted to add one thing. I don't know if you can hear me okay.
Yes, we can.
I just wanted to add that I live in Cambridge, Massachusetts, and I really wanted to thank Tom Jackson for, because I used to be a member of the Delaware group, the First State Web Footers, and his input was to just really, make up a little piece on each one of those trails, like just little notes that I have downloaded into my computer. And I think I haven't done any yet, but I'm hoping that, the next couple of years to do them. I really, I think that helped a lot, because I know where to go, what to expect, and that sort of thing.
Well, that's really neat, and we'll let him know that you said hi. But this is really, really great that we all get to learn something as well. Like, many of us really appreciate the opportunity to learn, and Tom really helped us learn about the Appalachian Trail as we're doing it. So it's a lot of fun to actually go and do some pretty spiffy things. All right, we have a couple of folks that raised their hand. Let's see, John?
Yeah, hey, so I'm gonna ask a hard question now, because this is a 10-year program, which gives us a huge opportunity. So the question is, does this program raise our awareness in the broader hiking community? How does this program bring more people to America's Walking Club? And I bring that up because it's something we should be thinking about. And Tim, I'm kind of teeing it up for you for your preview about how we use special programs overall, because it's great for the people we already have, but we need to be thinking about the people that we don't yet have.
Susan, I guess the question comes back to, we have the AT logo on there. There is an AT organization. is there a time during the next 10 years to build a relationship with the Appalachian Trail Organization over this program?
I think there probably is, although not right now because they want people to stay off the trails because of the COVID. I went ahead and joined the Appalachian Trail Association when I first started this program. But John's right, I need to do a better job at reaching out and trying to make them aware of us and what the people that we could bring. But right now they don't want people on the trail.
And you're right, Susan. And listen, it's not about you personally. We have 10 regional directors. This program runs through 3 of our regions. So what I did was I contacted the trail organizations in all the states in the Southeast region. There are 14 clubs that are Appalachian Trail clubs. They're not too different than our clubs. Their purpose is to put out trail magic and maintain the Appalachian Trail in their local areas. And there's at least 14 of them in these states. So I contacted the ones in the Southeast region. I sent them a letter, explained the program, and said, listen, we'd love it if you'd tell your other hikers and the members of your clubs about what we're doing. And I shared that letter with the Northeast and Atlantic region directors as well for their use if they wanted to tailor it to their regions. So that's the kind of thing I'm talking about.
Very good. Well, thank you for that question, and something for us to continue to think about as we look at other programs here. All right, Centurion program. The question was, what's going to happen to the Centurion program because of COVID? The answer from the national headquarters is they are not going to extend the 2020 Centurion program. With neighborhood walks, with local walks turning into online start boxes, there are more and more opportunities. And it was the national headquarters and Karen's and Henry's opinion that so many of the folks who do the Centurion program do it actually are 2-time, 3-time folks doing the Centurion program. And they felt that they didn't want to extend that. So that's kind of where the Centurion program is that we get 1 year to do it. They didn't want to discount the 2021 program. They wanted the 2021 Centurion program to start clean on January 1st. So if you have a Centurion book, look for those local opportunities with year-rounds and seasonal events that may be kicking off using our online start boxes or other alternative means of registration. So that's where we are with the Centurion program.
Yeah,
Questions?
just to comment on the Centurion walk, you say do the local walks. The closest walks for me are an hour away. So when I went into this, I normally do it. So it's a stretch because I work. So I have to average 2 events a weekend. I basically, with COVID, lost 3 months. So now I'm having to potentially double or triple up on weekends to get this in. So it's not going to be as fun when you have to work at it as hard as I will to be able to complete this program this year. So that's just, I realize with COVID, it's a year program and to complete. But a lot of the books that I do have to pass what I refer to as a doability factor. This one, it's a stretch, but I can do it most years. This year, it's going to be a bit more of a stretch. So just a comment.
No, that's an important comment, Carol, and I'll pass that on. Of course, this is being a recorded session. I'm sure our national headquarters will appreciate hearing these particular comments because they don't have everybody's perspective. And thank you for adding yours. John, your hand is up again, sir. Nope.
Negative.
Okay, Susan, your hand is up, ma'am.
Yes, a suggestion. When this all hit, I was worried about the same thing. So I started a Volksmarch from my front porch. And so I roll out of bed every morning at 5 in the morning because I'm in Texas and it's hot. And I do a 10K. And is there no place good where this woman could close by that she could do a walk, even if it's an old boring walk like mine is in the neighborhood. And I've done it 50 times already in the last 2 months, so that helps me.
And that's called the Neighborhood Walk Program. And it was something we tried to publicize 2 months ago, is that try to get a seasonal event in your local neighborhood so that you literally walk out your front door and you're on the trail, sort of thing. And that is actually, there are a number of us that actually do that sort of a thing during these times. And there have been those who have it for a matter of convenience. So it may be something.
I did consider that, and I actually talked to the local club, and they recommended before sanctioning it more widely, as it would need to be set up as a special event first. So we'd be at least a year out. So,
Why did they say that? There is no requirement for that.
It wasn't a requirement, but from past experience or something. I don't know the details. So, yeah, so.
All right. Carol, can you email me, because your club and I are going to have a talk because I'd really like we'll bring in your regional director into this, because this really was an emphasis item for the board of directors and the national headquarters, was to create national walks with as simple a process as possible. There really is no need to do that.
That was just a recommendation. So they may have had some past experience with, trying to get a feel for if it was a walk of interest, I think is what was driving it. Not to discourage the walking, but just to make sure that it had sufficient interest to offset the costs.
And how many times would you personally do that walk, if you could?
This year, more than normal.
And you alone would have paid the cost of it, and that was the purpose of it, is for all of us to create walks in our local neighborhoods to meet our individual needs. As long as we can meet something like 17, I think, is the minimum number of times of doing it that actually pays for itself. And I'm not sure that figure, it's somewhere around 15 to 17 times of doing it pays for a walk.
Yeah.
If you
I'll follow up with them again, because I'm doing where I live. I'm kind of in the middle of several clubs, but the club that would sanction this one, I'll follow up with them and ask a little bit more.
All right, very good. Susan, your hand's still up. You have more to say, ma'am? Nope, guess not. All right. Okay, well, let's continue to move on here. Let's talk about National Walking Week. National Walking Week was declared the first in January of 2020. It is an initiative to create a critical mass of AVA's America's Walking Club activities that will garner publicity everywhere. There are only a few events in the AVA pantheon that actually bring enough walkers together that media is actually interested in what we're doing. Crazy Horse being one of them. The Texas Trail Roundup being one that got a lot of publicity. Freedom Walk in the Washington, D.C. area did that. There are only a few walks that actually bring enough walkers that we actually have a great big mass of walkers and people start to pay attention to what we're doing. In order to garner publicity, and this is a publicity event, the idea is that, well, if we can't all gather together in one big place, let's all gather together at the same time in our local communities, as I said, at the same time. April 1st through the 7th, and there's a reason for these dates. The history of this is the first Wednesday of April used to be National Walking Day, and it was sponsored by the American Heart Association. But being a Wednesday was never a convenient time for us as Volksmarchers who normally do their events on the weekends. So if we take the first 7 days, it will always include a weekend. But if we keep it inside April, it's now part of American Heart Association's Move It More month, and they are willing to give us publicity as long as we're inside April. which is why we are keeping it. Even if the week begins in a Wednesday, we'll go to Tuesday the following week. And what we're going to do is we're going to call the first few days before the 1st of April as the on deck walks. So that we'll actually start on a Monday with on deck walks until we until we actually touch the 1st of April, and then we're in National Walking Week. So we can actually have an entire calendar week associated with it as well. But the idea is that most of the publicity comes from the first 7 days of April from National Walking Week. And the idea here is, unlike any of the rest of Volksmarching where you put on a walk for other walkers, now every club is going to stay in their own communities and be an open house. We're going to work with our politicians, our state and our communities, and we're going to get, first of all, declarations. If you look at your own state government and you just Google, how do I get a declaration from my governor, or I'm pretty sure every state, many localities, many counties have the opportunity for citizens to nominate times and days as event days that would be declared. An example, in order to demonstrate to you how this worked, in Virginia, we got Governor Northam, despite the COVID situation, to declare the first 7 days of April as Virginia Walking Week, using almost the exact language of the AVA Declaration. As I said, this is an open house week, and the opportunity is to get publicity in your area. We own nationalwalkingweek.org and .com websites. There actually is a .org website. Right now it's resting on the Virginia Volksport Association's page, but it's going to be, eventually a lot of the same material is going to be duplicated in the AVA website as well. We own National Walking Week, so all the social media channels, Facebook page, Twitter feed, Instagram, all under the title of National Walking Week. We are #1 on the Google search if you searched on National Walking Week. We use the hashtag of National Walking Week in all the posts. Again, back to what we did in Virginia, just so I had something to demonstrate to you about how this would work. Even though we did have very restrictive walks, we got the governor to declare Virginia Walking Week. We have at least 2 counties to declare walking weeks named up for their counties. The community of Manassas was to declare Manassas Walking Week. We were going to walk with the mayor. We ended up walking with our county supervisor and got publicity on her newsletter and her proclamation in the county board, which was videotaped and put into her newsletter as well. So the idea is to get other people to talk about us through talking about National Walking Week. And that's the whole purpose of it. So it's not about creating a traditional event where you'll get walkers from all over, other Volksmarchers. They need to stay in their communities and do their walks in their communities while you do a walk in your community as well. We may use some non-traditional stamps, guided walking stamps. Plan on trying to do 7 walks in 7 days. Do some things for fun and publicity in your local community, and be creative about it. There is a logo, and you see it down there. There's the 2021 logo. You'll notice it's the exact same colors as our new logo. And it allows us to show that we are branding, that we've carried the brand into National Walking Week. We have posters for your starting location, a certificate template, website, the website capability. So that's the idea of National Walking Week, is to do something slightly different. So what questions do you have about National Walking Week? It is different than what we've ever done before. Any questions? Any thoughts? All right, 2 hands. John, sir?
Yeah, hey, first of all, I thought when we started talking about getting proclamations, it was going to be harder than we thought. I did it in Volusia County. It was extremely easy. It was a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. The second comment is, and I think this might be a future class in this series that you started tonight, Tim, great time to use an AVA ACE event during National Walking Week, an AVA community event, which is a separate category of events. So that'll be a follow-up Zoom perhaps in a couple of months.
And actually, it's next month. That is on the schedule. We'll be walking the non-traditional events of the AVA next month. So we will learn about ACE events. We'll learn about traveling guided walking stamps. And actually, the DVV has created a new program where they're just giving event credit for just going out your front door and walking, no matter what distance you do. And we'll talk about how we might apply that in the AVA scenario as well. So those non-traditional events come next month for us. Thoughts? Any other thoughts? All right. Well, let's see what else is next. Okay. All right. What's new for 2021? I'll call on the Weavers up in the cold country of Michigan. I'm assuming it's cold up there. It's
not right now. It's like in the 80s. Not exactly cold. Okay. We're going to be one of the new walks. We're from the Washtenaw Wanderers, which is in Michigan. We actually are a club that is located in Southeast Michigan, but we cover the state all the way from the Ohio border up through the UP, the Upper Peninsula. So our club covers a lot of territory. So the program we're going to have is called the Great Lakes, and our little hashtag thing is Great Lakes, great fitness, great friendship, and great fun. You will walk 12 trails or walks anywhere in the U.S. along a Great Lake, or with a street name, building name, city name, school name, anything with a Great Lake name. And for those of you who aren't familiar with the Great Lake names, they are Michigan, Huron, Erie, Superior, and Ontario. So if you have a Michigan street, which is probably the most prevalent one to find, in any of your walks, you can count it. You'll have to come up with 3 separate names must be included in the list of the 12 walks. So say, for instance, you would have to do a Michigan, a Huron, and Ontario as an example. But any of the 5, but you would have to do 3 of them. The other thing is we decided to, and Tim can kind of support this, we thought creatively outside, he was going to talk about patches. So we decided not to do a patch, but there's an option for a patch if you really want one. We are going to be doing a string backpack. If you ever saw the lightweight backpacks, that's what we're going to be doing. And it's going to be most likely in the color blue because of the Great Lakes, blue. So that's where that's coming from. But if you want a patch, there will also be what we call as a legacy patch that you can buy and you can purchase in addition. That's not included in the fee, but you can add that on and get a legacy patch, which is a patch of the Great Lakes program, and it doesn't have a year on. We actually have these. This program, a Great Lakes program, different than this one, was done back in 2003. So it's been a long time, and we just happened to inherit all the extra patches. So we're going to be offering those up. And as an incentive, if you're going to the convention in Madison, we really want to kick it off. Wisconsin borders on some of the Great Lake. Well, 1. It's not like Michigan, we got 4, but Wisconsin has 1. I guess 2. Do they have 2?
Green Bay.
Yeah, I don't know if they have one up there on Lake Superior or not. So, but yes, so they, it's a good place to kick it off at. And so if you do sign up for our patch, this program, special program, we're going to give you a free patch if you sign up at the convention and buy a book. So that's another way to get a patch. We decided that we're going to dedicate a Facebook group page just to this program. I like group pages. We have one for our club, and it moves and it's real active. And so we want this to be an active page where you can post pictures of walks that you have done. If you have questions about where to go, and maybe other people can give you suggestions on walks that have those names. We'll also put lots of information up there as much as we can find on the Great Lakes. Just so, you know, even if you're out in the state of Washington and you're just walking this and never coming close to the Great Lakes, we hope you come visit one of the Great Lakes because they do border a lot of different states, but it's not a requirement. But that way you could get information on them. We also, one of the things that Tim mentioned is we are going to have an alliance with another outside group. And the alliance for this program is the Great Lakes Regional Tourism Board. So we'll be running some, you know, co-sponsoring, putting some things through them. Tim can tell you a little more about that. And again, my name's Roxy, and I'm kind of the one heading it up. Our club's actively participating, but as a point of contact, I'll be the point of contact for this program. So we hope to encourage you all to, you know, participate in the Great Lakes because it's for fun, fitness, and friendship.
Before we open it up to questions, she really mentioned the real sea change that's about to happen in special programs, because every single special programs going forward has to have an alliance with an outside agency related to the theme. In this case, because we are going to the Great Lakes area for our national conference coming up in next year, we will be using the Great Lakes Area Region Tourism Board, not only for us to show what we can do for that community, what we can do for that region by bringing walkers from all over the United States to our national conference in the Great Lakes region. But they can do things for us because they'll be publicizing our walks throughout the Great Lake region and how we are trying to carry the theme of Great Lakes across the United States. So for as long as I'm the program chair, every single new special program going forward will be in alliance with another organization who can help us promote Volksmarching and walking beyond our membership board. So that is what the Weavers are demonstrating for us is the very first example of what we hope will be the paradigm going forward. We had that in the past. We see it in the Appalachian Trail program where there are other stamps. We saw that in what was the old Heritage program, which was the national parks, where every national park had their own stamp. And we collected that national park stamp as well as the AVA, IVV stamp as well. So now we have the opportunity to work with the Great Lakes region to promote that region, and they will promote us as well. What questions do you have for the Weavers about the Great Lakes program? 5 qualifiers. Those are the names of the 5 stamps. And one of the things we specifically said is just because you're in the state of Michigan and it happens to be the same name doesn't necessarily count. You got to see one of them or be on a Michigan street or another geographical feature that has that name of Michigan. Probably, or a lot of them throughout the state of Michigan, but just being in Michigan isn't itself a qualifier. All right, so we have 3 folks with raised hands. Mike Green, go, sir.
Yes, I mean, all special program folks got to think about the standard questions that most people have about qualifiers. In other words, if a walk has 2 qualifiers, can I get 2 credits if I walk it twice? So I have a place that has a street that says Huron, another one that says Michigan. Can I get credit if I walk it twice in the same year?
Well, if you walk it twice, you can get it 1 for each time.
Well, guess
But
what? For example,
1 for each
little free libraries wouldn't allow, little free libraries, last time I heard.
Yeah, I would say we'll allow it, but you got to walk twice.
How many times you walk it?
I believe the Little Free Libraries changed their rules so that you can walk, 1 stamp represents 1 Little Free Library.
Okay,
So
cool.
if you have two or three Little Free Libraries, you can use the same stamp, but it has to represent a different qualifier. And that's the way
Okay,
we're
that
going.
isn't what we understood, but that's good to hear. I've got a walk that has 3 of them.
And you can do that 3 times, but you have to have 3 separate little free
Yes, 3
libraries.
separate stamps, no problem. Just,
Yep.
and then if you notice, one of the other ones said that you could get 2 stamps per event, so per year. So
Understand.
like the
And
Olympic
that's
one,
not
I
gonna-
think you could get 2 stamps for a particular event. So if you
Well,
and it was the same qualifier, you could.
I believe that one said you could use 2 stamps in a year if you had the same qualifier. That is true.
That's correct. And so is this one going to work the same way?
No, each qualifier can only be used
So
once.
that needs to, all this information needs to be stated in the definition of the program, because since we're not going to have a standard way of doing this and all the POCs operate a little bit differently, you got to put that in the description of your what qualifies. That's all my point.
That's a good point, and I think that that was, again, one of the things we want to standardize is how we use qualifiers. We're now going for, it's not AVA stamps that will determine it. It's now the qualifier itself that determines. And you can only use one qualifier once in a book. So in other words, if you had a walk that had 2 or 3 things on it, you could do it 2 or 3 times, but that's because you have 2 or 3 qualifiers. Mike?
So, but I can't come next year and walk the same qualifier?
If you're in the same book, no.
Okay, that's not standard either. A lot of allow you to walk a qualifier in the next year.
No. All right, I'll talk to the Weavers about this, and we'll make sure that when it appears in the TAW by the end of the week, we have the rules written out very specifically. How about
Thank
that?
you.
All right. Anything else? Well, thank you so very much for doing this program for us. I think we're very excited. It has a lot of opportunity for us. Very good. All right, thank you. We'll go on into the next program. And that is, okay, Dolores, you're out there? Hey, Jean Dolores.
How, is that better?
Yes, that's better.
Okay, there we go. Tim, I'm probably going to hand this right over to you because this is your baby. We're excited with the Freedom Walk to be able to be the host of it, but you put a lot of time and energy into this. So it's walking with the American veterans. So Tim, just roll with it. I know we talked a little bit about it and on and off, but I'm just going to let you, because you know all the ins and outs of it. I appreciate
Well, thank you. The qualifier for this event is war memorials from the Spanish-American War going forward. So the idea, every town pretty much honors its veterans who have gone over to fight overseas and who have supported us. This is a patriotic walker program. Our co-sponsoring organization is actually an organization of organizations. The National Military and Veterans Associations. That means the VFW, American Legion, Purple Heart Association. There's a whole list of different organizations that qualify, and we can build local relationships with. We're going back to the very big part of what started Volksmarching, which was American veterans bringing Volksmarching from Europe to the United States. We're going back to and talk about that with veterans organizations. Many veterans I run into realize that, hey, I did Volksmarching in Europe decades and decades ago. Does that still exist? Well, yes, it does. And now we're going to reconnect with our heart, with what started us decades ago, and that was America's veterans by honoring America's veterans. The qualifier is individual war memorials or the buildings, walking by the buildings associated with any of these veterans organizations. And what we're trying to do is build individual relationships between the AVA and each one of these organizations so that you could go out and actually co-host a walk out of a VFW post or out of an American Legion Hall with their membership and actually return Volksmarching back to the veterans who brought it to us. So that is the America's Veterans Program. The award for this is something that American veterans covet, which is the challenge coin. The first challenge coin with the AVA logo on it. And it's a tradition that dates back 100 years. The idea of every military member carried a challenge coin in their pocket when they were in a bar. If they were ever challenged and were found to not have their coin with it, they bought the next round. So having this AVA challenge coin makes this a unique opportunity for us to work. We are looking at, again, each qualifier. The qualifier is a specific memorial. So you can walk, you're to walk each qualifier in a book. And this is a minimum of 3-year program, and we'll see how successful it is. But there is a prize at the end for how many books you complete. How many different memorials can you gather across the country? John McClellan did a poll, and it was something like a dozen different memorials just in his local area, I think. John, is that about right?
So far, I have 18 year-round events. 15 of them are walks. So far, I've found 11 qualifiers, just with a cursory look as a preliminary, since I knew about this before some of the people on this call tonight. I will also mention, if any of you on the call were at the convention in Albany, one of the walks in Albany ended in an American Legion hall. It was the day we did the battlefield walk, I think. And we walked and ended in that town. And if you saw that, you saw the perfect conditions for a Volksmarch start hall. Most of your VFWs and American Legions and some of the other organizations have a big room full of tables and a kitchen attached to it. There at the convention, they were cooking outside. You got your food, you went inside and sat down at the tables. So this is like it is in the birthplace of Volksmarching in Europe and Germany, where there's a hall where you gather after the walk. I'm talking a traditional event now. It might be music playing. There's almost always hot food. So getting with these organizations and partnering with them to use their halls, great idea.
Very good. Cindy, you have your hand raised, ma'am? Make sure you're unmuted.
Cindy or Susan?
Well, we have a Cindy that has her hand raised first. All right.
That's a mistake, sorry.
I'm sorry?
So this is Cindy, that was a mistake.
Okay.
I did not mean to raise.
Okay, Susan, your turn, ma'am.
I just wanted to make sure that I understood that if the walk starts, if the start finish is at a VFW, that qualifies, correct?
Well, yes, but you have that really nice VFW post that we walk beside. That in itself qualifies. You don't have to begin or end. You can just walk by one of these buildings the way we used to walk by a Masonic hall in another different program. So you have the VFW road that there's a bridge named in the Texas Trail Roundup, the VFW bridge. That would qualify. And you have, again, we're looking at 1890 and the founding of the Spanish-American War and going forward. So when America's finally sent its troops overseas for the first time, that's our starting point. We're not looking back. We're looking forward from 1890 forward. So the Spanish-American War forward, the Boxer Rebellion, World War I, World War II. Any memorial that honors America's veterans who've served in any of those conflicts from 1890 going forward. Okay? Lynn?
Okay, my question is, you said it had to be a specific memorial. However, like in our town, we have a veterans memorial, but it is a general veterans memorial. Does it have to be specific to one action?
No, it does not. As long as it's honoring America's veterans who have fought in those particular events. That's
Okay.
we are just making sure that we are out of the political hot zone of certain memorials and things like that. So
Okay.
they need to be memorials that honor America's veterans from 1890 forward. Now, how they do that, each town will find a unique way to do it. And how each town honors their veterans really tells us a lot about the community. And that's why we really want to do, that's why each memorial is a specific qualifier. And the way this was envisioned is that you can only use a qualifier once in a book. And so the idea is how many books can you actually fill up of all these memorials wherever you travel, because they really are the heartbeat of America and many of our American communities. I think you will find that you will be able to fill up an awful lot of memorials. And so we want you to buy as many books as possible. And there will be a prize for the person that actually gathers the most memorials over the course of the entire program. So that's one of the things we're going to be doing with this program. Mike, you had a question, sir?
Yes, the question was, how many qualifiers to a book?
Well, we're looking at that right now, about 15, I think. So the goal is to get as many as you can. And this is a multi-year program, so you have a lot of time to do it.
So to get you have to pay for each book?
Oh, yes. I mean, you buy the book just like you would rebuy the book for another. You buy another book.
If I'm in this competition, I buy multiple books in principle. Is what you're saying?
That's correct. You're going to keep buying books, just like you buy AVA, multiple AVA books.
Okay.
Is that a problem?
No, just trying to understand how it works.
Okay. Everybody, you buy your books just the same way some people, we have double centurions and triple centurions. They buy us their logbook, multiple logbooks. So, okay. Anyway, this will be a valuable gift and prize to the winner of who goes over the multi-year program with gathering the most memorials as part of this particular program. And so we really do want this to be a special one and a special opportunity for us this allows me to write articles in their national newsletters and their national magazines about Volksmarching and reminding all their veterans about Volksmarching, which many of them probably already remembered long, long ago, but forgot and never knew came back with them from overseas. So that's our goal here is to reestablish contact with the founding folks who brought us together. Okay, Cindy, your hand is still up, but maybe not. Oh, Mike, go ahead, sir.
Just to make it clear, we have a memorial in our town that's like a small circle, but there are 3 separate stones, one for the World War II, one for World War I, and one for the Korean War. That's 3 qualifiers if I walk it 3 times, right?
Is it a single memorial? Is it considered a single memorial? Then it is one event. It is
well,
one.
I mean,
memorial.
there's a separate stone with names on it for each of these actions. So that's the question. Is that 1 memorial or 3? You tell me.
All right.
How far apart do the stones got to be before that's a different memorial?
How does your town refer to it? Does it refer to it as the singular or in a plural fashion?
I don't know. We have to go. There's nothing that says this is the memorial. There's just the 3 stones.
Okay.
That
If
are
you're
reasonably separated. And the question is it 1 or 3? That's all.
Okay. If it is joined by a common plaza, I would assume just like the World War II Memorial in Washington, D.C. is multiple campaigns, but it's all attached by the same common area, the same common concrete space. It really is just one memorial. In this case,
Okay.
if you have a single slab of concrete that all three sit on, it's probably one memorial.
Okay.
Okay?
That's going to be tricky, but yeah, for a lot of people.
All right.
I have been in places where there's a plaza, like you say, and certainly in Washington, D.C., right? There's the Vietnam Memorial and there's the World War II Memorial, and they're separated by a significant amount. But I've been in where the plazas are less than 100 feet circular, right? And
Understand.
so
Now,
that's tricky, right?
well, we'll let you, again, this is going to be one of those books where you're going to have to take a picture. There's going to be a space here because we want you to remember the veterans associated with it.
Yeah, I do too. I just want to understand how it works.
Okay, so it's not just an IVV stamp, it's a memorial, and if it's associated with a specific organization, we'd like to know that because we'd like to keep track of who you're contacting. And not every single organization has individually signed up yet because their headquarters have been closed because of the COVID-19. We have some that have said, yeah, we'd like to play, but let's see how this all plays out in our local communities. It'll be up to each individual post. There's a lot of dynamics happening right now because of the COVID situation across the country, and the national organizations are willing to play, but they are being cautious about it. And this gives us another 6 months to make this happen, to build these relationships. And it may take the first year of the program, and we may want to extend it if this really looks successful. So, all right. But I'm hoping that everybody understands the paradigm shift here is that we are building relationships with every special program we do. So that's the 3 programs for next year. National Walking Week, concentrate in the first 7 days of April. Walk the Great Lakes, and now start thinking about where are the veterans memorials and veterans halls and in my local communities and nearby, and where are there walks nearby. And think about, but don't make contact yet with, but think about establishing relationships to actually create a walk in and out of one of the local groups. All right, so that's our goal, and that's how we're using special programs going forward, is to build relationships and publicity for the AVA. So what questions do you have? All right, we got 3 folks with their hands raised, and Mike, again, you, sir.
Did I miss what the qualifiers are going to be for National Walking Week? I mean, how many National Walking Week walks do you do, or is it just one? Or?
No, this idea, there is no qualifier, there is no book in National Walking Week. The idea is that the clubs are to think of it as a unique way of doing business, and that's why we called it a special program. But it is not a collecting something thing. It is how many politicians and how many communities can you get to recognize the AVA? That's your collector.
So it's not going to be on the new special programs page the traditional new special programs.
No, there's going to be a special National Walking Week page created just for
That's
it
fine.
with all this material. Yeah, all this material.
People got to say, does this walk qualify for this special program now on their event? And I guess they could do that for National Walking Week, I guess. If we just...
Well, there is a discussion in the board where everybody was going to get a guided walking stamp that was good during those 7 days, so you can do 7 walks in 7 days. That was a discussion item. We may go forward with the board and see if they want to do that, where there's a special National Walking Week stamp given to every club as part of the registration process, re-upping for your dues for next year. But we'll continue that discussion. Jean, you have a question?
No, I do not.
Okay.
All right.
John, sir?
Can you hear me now?
Oh, I can, yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. I have a question about the Great Lakes program.
Sure.
Okay, So we can do walks in other areas that are not near the Great Lakes if they have the names of the Great Lakes? Like
That is-
Ontario, California, would any walk in that city would qualify?
Ooh, that works.
Yeah.
And like you mentioned, Michigan Street. So if I have a Michigan Street in my town and a walk goes along it, that would be a qualifier?
Absolutely.
Okay, are there other things besides streets that, or just anything with those names?
Buildings, Erie, I don't know. I don't know, is there a company named, if you find the word plastered on a building, Erie, or Erie lighting and fixtures or something, I
Okay.
don't know, that would
Actually,
work.
Erie Insurance is a big one, so yeah.
Well, not here, but okay, thank you.
Actually, not just here, actually in other states besides Michigan.
I'm saying not here. I live in California.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say on the East Coast, there's a lot of Erie Insurance, so.
Very good. So the idea is we're gonna use the Great Lakes to help us walk all over the United States. But again, it's based on, you'll get a whole lot of them if you go to the national conference. And that's why we're doing this program, is to partner and promote the national conference coming up next year. Okay. John, you have your hand up, sir?
Hey, just on National Walking Week, I think that's a little different in terms of qualifiers. And as I understood it, the qualifier is an AVA event between the 1st of April and the 7th of April. It's not a specific thing on any event. It's those days. Have I got it right?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
There you go.
Again, the idea is to do any kind of thing on that day that generates publicity for walking and the AVA. So that we can talk about how many miles were walked by AVA people, or how many kilometers were walked by AVA people, or how many events were being done by AVA people during those 7 days. And again, we'll have some warm-up days so that you can actually have a calendar week in there to work with as well, so it didn't seem so abrupt to start.
So on that program, there's no need to review existing walks and look for some specific thing that would be a qualifier. The need
No.
is to schedule during National Walking Week.
Kid.
Yes, that is correct. And
Call
then
Julia.
schedule
Call
something
Ben.
and invite folks to join. So, what other questions do we have? All right, the last question is, how helpful is this? Is this a good thing for us to gather together and talk about topics like this? Talk about next month, talk about ACE program. What is an ACE event? What is a traveling guided walk event? How do you sign up for it? What good are those kinds of events? Is this a good thing for us to do? Everybody, thumbs up, something? Okay. All right, well, let's see what else I have in the way of a stop sharing. I might have another poll question here. All right. Here's a question. So the question is, do you really want patches, or do you want other things other than patches? How important are patches to you? All right. All righty. Go ahead and stop the polling, share the results. For the most part, the majority say no, few say maybe. I'm hoping that something like a spiffy military challenge coin would be so unique and quite a collectible that would be worth having. So Anyway, well, thank you very much. Let's see, who else? Mike, your hand is still up. Do you have another question, sir?
The question is, I presume you're going to have people submit their National Walking Week events, and we'll handle it like we do for the opt-out side.
Yes, I think that that's something that the board, we need to really talk about at the next board meeting. But for now, we'll have just a general, we'll definitely get everything. The deadline is the 25th for the American Wanderer, and I guess, and we have, of course, the
real question is, are we going to have an opt-out side like website listing of events that occurred during National Walking? Have you seen the opt-out side webpage off of AVA?
I have, and I know that Henry is going to have we're going to migrate everything to create a National Walking Week page to be the center of material and publicity and information.
Okay, so we can handle it the same way. I mean, it's a standard way to do that. Okay.
Very good. All right. Anything else? Well, then please let us know how you feel about this, and if this third Wednesday of the month is a good time, just email me and let me know, or let your regional director know. And we're going to try to come up with a regular monthly schedule of fun-filled activities to educate and get us together and talk and help us promote each other's event and each other's walking opportunities. So on behalf of all of us, thank you so very much for the chance to come together and to share what we're doing. I expect to read about it in the American Wanderer and in the next checkpoints, but start your planning now for the 2021 season, especially National Walking Week. Great opportunity. If you have any questions, contact me at programs@ava.org, and I'll do everything I can to answer your questions up, and we'll work together. So again, thank you so much. I'll just say goodnight then, and
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.